Hello and thank you for joining me. I'm Heather Forgan of stampwithnellie.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in the UK. And this card I have made for the Project Share blog hop, where I do a blog hop with my good friends Jez from Nigeza Creates, Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting, and Verity from Inky Butterfly. Every Thursday we share a project from the other three on our own blog posts, and then on the first of the month, the first Saturday of the month, we create a brand new project on a theme and we do a blog hop. So this is it. Our theme was Floral. So I have used this absolutely gorgeous new Sending Smiles stamp set and dies to create this card, and I've also used the floral pattern from the designer series paper for the in colours. These are the new 2022 to 2024 in colours. I have Sweet Sorbet, Orchid Oasis, Parakeet Party, and I've added in some what did I add in? I added in some Daffodil Delight or Mango Melody. I can't remember which one I used on this. I think it might be Mango Melody. So it's called a reverse easel fold. It folds that way rather than the way you would normally have an easel fold going that way. Okay, so I've used the dies to create my stopper for the easel. These are part of the sending dies, and I've also used the scalloped contours dies for this main panel here. Okay, so if you want to make this along with me, you will need the following, and you can get all of these measurements in my blog post. A link to that is in the description bar below, and then when you're in my blog you can hop along to see what the other three ladies have come up with as well. So first of all, I've got a piece of A4 basic white thick card that I've cut down to 11.5 inches by 5 3/4 inches, and I'll do some scoring on that in a moment, but I'm just at the moment telling you all the bits that you need. I've then got some Orchid Oasis card that is 5 5/8 by 5 5/8. Just need one of those. Okay, so that will go on the bottom there. I then have 3 pieces of Orchid Oasis card that is 5 5/8 by 2 3/4. Okay, then I've got another piece of the same colour card that is big enough to cut the second largest of the scallop contours dies. Okay, so I need to do that die cutting. I've also got a piece of normal basic white to do the next size down. I've got a piece of basic white that is 2 5/8 by 5 1/2, and that is for the back panel here. Okay, so I'll do a little bit of stamping on that bit as well. So that will layer with one of those pieces too. Okay, to layer onto the other 2 pieces the same size, I have some of the In Colour Designer Series paper, and again sticking with a floral theme, and these measure 5.5 inches by 2 5/8. Okay, so we need 2 of them, and I'll need to glue those 2 together. And I need a piece of designer series paper to add onto that piece of card as well. And this piece measures 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Okay, so I've got some gluing to do, a little bit of stamping, and some die cutting already. I also need to do some die cutting, stamping and die cutting for the flowers for the front, and I also need to do this bit here. We'll concentrate on doing this bit first, and then I can do all of my die cutting, all of my gluing, and then we can go on to do that bit there. Okay, so I've got quite a lot of bits of scrap white card, and I've got my Sending Smiles stamps, and you can see they're already quite well used. Let me grab some blocks. I need various sizes. These little ones will stamp the centres of some of our flowers, so I may need to chop and change my blocks as we go. Could have got all the blocks out beforehand, eh? That would have been sensible. So I think that might be enough for now. And as I say, I can chop them out with, oh, sorry about that. Let me just silence my other machine. There we go. So I am going to, what am I going to use? I'm going to use Tahitian Tide, Parakeet Party. I've got Daffodil Delight and Sweet Sorbet, and I might throw in some Orchid Oasis in the mix as well. So first one I want to do is this gorgeous kind of half flower. Stamp that, and then I've got this little one to stamp on the top. I'm hoping that I'm in camera shot here. And there we go. And then there is a die that will cut that out perfectly. Let me just bring out all of these dies. That one there fits round that there. Okay, so I've got those. I'm going to do a little Tahitian Tide. There we are. And the die that matches that one. I don't know if you can hear some kids' voices outside. My little neighbours have come back from wherever they've been. It's cute. It's cute. And then I think I will stamp. So that was that one. Let me take that off and get out the other small one. That one. Do that in Sweet Sorbet. And there is a tiny little, that's not the one, tiny little dot that I can stamp in the middle of these two. Okay, oops, try that again. Nearly, because I'm trying to do it from an angle here, but you get the idea. You can take your time and make sure you've got it in the middle. So I've got some of these flowers ready to die cut when I line those up properly, and I want to stamp some of the leaves and I will do that in the parakeet party. I do have more flowers that I want to stamp as well. I've got those 3, and this one's gorgeous. And then I'm going to clean that so I can do it in a different colour as well. I think I'll do it in the Daffodil Delight, like so. So you get the idea that I am just going to do a few more stamps and just get quite a few stamped and die cut leaves and flowers, so that we can then build up our front panel similar to this one here. So leave me to get on with this, and I will be back with you very soon. Right, so whilst I was off camera, I continued doing my stamping and die cutting. So I now have these lovely bits of greenery, and I've got various stamped and die cut flowers, and I also used, there's a tiny little die in the set that cuts those 2 cute little flowers. So I did some from both colours of card that were left over around the edges there, because it doesn't take much room. So yeah, I just used my mini Stampin' Cut, Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, that's what it's called, Heather. Even this larger frame went through that, which is great because it's such a cute little machine, but also pretty mighty. I also went ahead and glued these layers together that I went through earlier as well, so they're ready to put on my card base when we get to that stage. First things first though is just building up this little scene, and I have my very grubby silicone mat. I'm going to put this bit to the side for now and just concentrate on this here, and I'm not using any dimensionals on this. I just want to keep it as flat as I can, because the card itself is pretty bulky and I don't really want to add much more bulk to it. So it's just a case of deciding which flowers you want to use where and sticking them to a leaf, a stem rather, and building up your little picture. To have a larger one in there, and you don't have to have a stem for each flower. You can just kind of add bits, extra bits in, and pretend that there is actually a stem in the background there. If you had a stem for every flower, it might get a bit bulky with that as well, but entirely up to you how many flowers and stems you want to put in, and whether you want to perhaps trim some of the stems down a little so that they're all on there. And I think another little one here, and we'll just trim that one down as well. Okay, like so, something like that. Okay, so as I say, just building up that picture. And I'll just glue all of those bits and pieces together. And it probably won't look anything like it did just a minute ago, but never mind. So there's a large stem, and I would suggest putting that one down first. So that's what we'll do, which would actually take 2 flowers, one there and one here. So pop that down there. All right, so quite happy with the composition of that and ready to glue that on to the larger Scalloped Contours die cut, just in the centre there. Okay, so still got those little flowers I can do something with, and just remove them to the side for now. So we go back to our card base, which if you recall, I had trimmed down from a piece of A4 to be 5 3/4 inches by 11.5 inches. Yep, and that means that when it's folded, it is 5 3/4 inches square. Okay, so I want to score this at, on the long side, at 5 3/4. Okay, so take my cutting blade out of the way, 5 3/4. Then I'm going to turn it over and score it at 8 5/8. Okay. And then finish with that. Let me get a bone folder. So just burnishing along that middle score line as normal, and then this one folds back the way. Okay, which is why I turned it over, so that it's going the right way. You don't have to, and certainly not with the Stampin' Up card, because you're not going to get cracking with our good quality card. But have I done that right? Yes, it's that way. That's suddenly gone, oh, that didn't work. Right, so just a case of adding these panels that we have already glued, cut and glued. Just add that in there. So as you'll see, because we've only got small differences between the card size and the designer series paper, you've just got nice neat little edges around there, and the 2 pieces of designer series paper will go on there. Like so. Just trying to keep your edges fairly similar. Right. Pop that one in like so. Give it all a good press down. So that is going to go like that. This piece is going to glue in the middle there. Okay, so I can see I don't want to bring glue any further down than that line there. Just add plenty on to that, and you could be nice and precise and measure and make sure you've got your gaps there. I'm not that precise. Quite like to eyeball things and hope it's at least semi-okay. I'm not sure that is. Never mind. Oops. Is that better? Press that down. Okay, so we need to do a little bit of stamping on that piece that will go in there where people can write their message. And I also need to put the sentiment part on like this. So when I did this one, there are two dies, one that cuts out the writing and one that cuts out the background. And when I put it together, I have used mini dimensionals, and I've had to cut them into tiny little bits, and it was a bit of a faff. And I also had to try and make sure I didn't have any glue escaping around about there. So to make sure that I don't have that problem this time, I have a solution, and that is to use some of our foam adhesive sheets for the background die, and to use some adhesive sheets for the writing. So let me just get a sheet out of here. And I've just realised that I have tidied away the bit of card that I was going to use now. Oh, honestly. So let me just grab a piece of white. So I want a piece, I don't want to have it too big. Okay, so cut a piece of card big enough for your die, and then you want to cut a piece of the adhesive sheet about the same size. If anything, maybe a little bit smaller. Okay. Now the adhesive sheet has some lines on it. It's in sections. Okay, so this is the sticky side, and that's the non-sticky side. So I've now got this as a sticker, and it is incredibly sticky, and I can put that down on my card. Okay, and then I can do the same with this one. Okay. So it's almost like an elastoplast, a sticking plaster, in that you can use this bit to help you get it in place and not get sticky all over your fingers like I did with the first half. Okay, so that is now ready for me to put that through my mini cut and emboss. And now I just need to find the piece of card that I mislaid for the background die. So back with you in just a second. Okay, so that is plenty big enough for that. So again, you want to just cut a piece that is slightly smaller. Let me just cut that straight along. So this is just like a full dimensional sheet. Okay. So I'll that will be wide enough, and I can just trim that bit off as well. So got that left to use on another project. And again, like your dimensionals, it's on a backing sheet. You can take that off, pop it on there, and then send that through your die cutting machine. I'll do this one first. That is nice and easy. Okay, now my little dot for my eye is still in the die, so I'm going to leave that there because I do want to have that. Okay, and I'll just leave that to the side there. It's all fully cut through. Yeah, it is. Okay, pops out no problem, and then I can pop that in the waste. Now with this, you're cutting through quite a thick, you've got your card and then you've got quite a bit of foam, so it might need a couple of passes through to get it fully cut. Bear with me a moment. My machine's sliding about a little bit because I've got it on a piece of paper. If I had it straight onto the desk, the feet would make sure that it doesn't move so much and it would be easier. Okay, so if I turn that round, I can see that that has cut all the way through as well. Okay, so it's out of there and just tease it out of there. All right, so that wasn't too much more effort to die cut that. Okay, so let us just finish off the top of this, and then I can go back and do the stamping on the extra piece that I forgot about. I'll leave that there, so don't forget again. I'm going to take out all of these extra little bits. First of all, I could have got my pokey tool or something, but we get there. Okay, so I've now got these two pieces and they both have a backing on them. I need to take the backing off this one first, and this is probably the trickiest part, is getting it started. Now, when you pull this, you could very easily take it out of shape. So, my tip is that you start in the middle. So I would start with my D on here, put that in place, and then that will help me make sure that I've not got it too stretched far out of position. Like that. Pop that in, and then I've got my G in place like so. Okay, make sure I'm happy with where it's all sitting before I actually commit to pressing that down, because essentially I've now got a giant sticker, and that's it. Let me find my die and get that little dot for the eye out of there. I want my take a pick tool for this. Okay, and then take the backing off of that if I can. If I can't get that off, that's not a problem. I can just use glue. There we go, got the backing off. is just a little bit fiddly. But you could put a gem in there instead of your die cut if you wanted to. Oh, I must have taken a little bit of the backing missing off there. Okay, so that is now ready to put on there as my easel stop. Okay, so basically just decide how far you want this to go, and I kind of think there's about right. So again, just take your backing off, and because I'm unlike my first one where I had lots of little bits of dimensionals and I had to take lots of little bits of backing off, I've just got one. There you go, and that is enough there. Now on this one I did actually pop these little flowers up at the edge there on mini dimensionals just for an extra little bit of help to keep it in place. So I just do that as well. And now I need to go back and do some stamping. So what am I sending? Am I sending smiles across the miles, all the good luck your way, sunshine to brighten your day, birthday wishes that I used the last one, love and big hugs, note of thanks, a card to say hello, comfort and strength. I think I'm going to stick with birthday wishes actually. I think this would be a lovely birthday card. So let me find birthday wishes again. Here we are. So I simply want to stamp that on a little piece of scrap. And which colour? Which colour? I think I'm going to go Sweet Sorbet because I didn't use very much of that in the flowers. Just had one flower with that. Okay, so straight down. And then there are 2 dies in the set that you can use to cut your sentiments depending on which length you're using. I'm going to use a little bit of washi tape. It's very well used just to hold that in place. And let me just take that off. I think that was actually a bit of thick card. Never mind, it doesn't matter. Scrap's a scrap. Okay, so sending birthday wishes. Let me get those tiny little dimensionals. In fact, I've got a little bit of the edge of some dimensionals. Use these sticky scissors. And I'm just going to use tiny little bits of this. In here. And obviously there will be a little bit sticky in the middle of that. So to combat that, I'll put a little pearl in the middle. Oops. See, they will just help give it an extra little bit of a stop in case it needs it. I did it all of the same colour on the last one, but I quite like the addition of the little bit of white in there. Pop that on. Then just pop this on with some glue. And straighten that bush along the bottom there. So sending birthday wishes, and I do still have some more of those lovely little flowers. I think I will add just the blue ones though, because white's going to get lost. So as I said right at the beginning, this is part of the Project Share blog hop. So I'm really looking forward to see what Jill, Jez and Verity are making with their floral projects for this month. They're all very talented and have different styles, which I think is nice. So yeah, it's always lovely to kind of anticipate what the others in the group might actually be using, and especially when we've all got lovely new products, might be tempted to use some of those. In fact, I've changed my mind. I'm going to use some of these in colour dots instead of pearls on this one, because we've got in colours. I just cut that in half because I keep my embellishments in an old stamp case, one of the wide ones, and it was too long, so I just cut it down. There's always a solution, isn't there? Always a solution. So I'm going to put, I might actually see if I can find my putty end. It might be easier. So yeah, we'll manage. Popping them in the centre. And these new dots, although they're in colours, they're obviously ombre, so you've gone darker down to light there. And we can chop and change what we put in the centre, because we've used all of these colours anyway. Well, don't think I used the dark. I didn't use Starry Sky. That's the only one I haven't used. There we go. Right, so absolute last bit to do on this mega card, as well as all the tidying up of my messy desk, is just to add a little bit of stamping on to the corner of this piece because it's just a bit too plain. So I will do a little bit of that and that, I think. Yeah, stick with those. So let me do that. And for once I tidied. Okay. And I think I'll use the Orchid Oasis as well. It's my main colour on this one. So a little bit of that. I don't want it to go on to my card layer. So that's just the backing from our adhesive foam sheet. Waste not, want not. And then add this flower. Going off to the side. And that's it. Just to glue that in place and tidy. So that is going to sit on the back there. Bring in my glue again. So I do hope that you'll pop over to my blog, not just to get the dimensions and the products that I have used for this reverse easel card, but also to then hop along to see what Jill, Jez and Verity have created for their floral themes too. So I have my Sweet Sorbet and my Orchid Oasis versions. I do hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, I'd love for you to give me a thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel, please do click on the subscribe button as well. Until the next time, take care. Bye bye.